Hi, friends. Welcome to the Full Heart Podcast. I am joined today by a powerful voice for midlife women who are done fixing and overthinking. She is a speaker, coach, and catalyst, front and center in human design for midlife women, bringing practical insights through her podcast and YouTube and her coaching. Please welcome Marissa. Thank you for being here with me, Marissa.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Rebecca. Like, it is an honor and a pleasure to be here with you. And like, I know we were talking before we started, and I'm like so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, well, I'm so excited that you are here, and it was fun to see, we first started talking, and I was looking at your Instagram, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, human design for midlife women, like, how perfect
Yeah.
is that?" And I love your branding with the colors and the animals,
Thank you. Like,
it's so
it's
good.
I feel like it was an evolution of my previous iteration of coaching, and I'm like, this is more me.
Mm,
Like, it feels me.
yeah.
It's like that part of me that was a little afraid to express that, like to stand out and be
Oh,
a little more
yes.
wild. So now I'm like, you know what?
Mm,
Just do it.
yes, because your account is Rewild by Design.
Yes.
So, okay, tell me a little bit more about that name, the
Okay. So
Rewild.
yes, that was kind of a download that came through from my journey, my midlife journey, right? I'm 44, and really just finding myself. And when I talk about rewilding, like when we think about rewilding, let me back up, is we think about it in like the traditional sense of like coming back to nature or this like architectural rewilding spaces. But for me, it means shedding these layers of like all of the things we were told we should be, we should do, we should want, and coming back to like who we are at our core. And rewilding
Mm,
is like, I hope you don't mind if I curse because I curse a little bit, is
yeah.
rewilding is really like not taking the bullshit anymore and
Mhm,
just being you. And it's about
mhm.
finding who that is. Cause a lot of us, like we had talked before, is who am I even? Like, who am I really without all of these hats and these labels and these masks? So
Mhm.
that I was like, it's the medicine that I think I needed that I'm now sharing with everybody else.
And isn't that the most potent thing? Like, when you are showing up deeply for yourself, it really is so impactful for other people as well.
Right.
And I love this journey you just took us on thinking about as kids, as little girls, especially our age growing up in the 80s and 90s and the messages we got. And it was just a weird time. Like I look back on the 80s now, I'm like, God, that was weird.
It was like I feel like I grew up and I was kind of sheltered, like, I had a decent childhood, right? Like, we weren't rich, we were maybe just above the poverty line, but I didn't really feel it, like, my parents did the best they
Mhm,
could with what they
mhm.
had to, like so I could have lessons, I could go on field trips, but it was strange just, like, living in that timeline of what is happening in the world and, like, who are we trying to be? And trying to fit in and, like, I feel like we're almost this bridge generation between, like, Gen X and millennials. Like, I feel like I
We are.
stepped into
Yeah,
both
we're
worlds.
exactly. Yeah. And I kind of like being in that little mix thing.
Yeah,
Um, because I'm like, we're just hanging out on our own. Like
right?
we can watch you do your thing, we watch you do your thing and just kind of observe it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, tell me a little bit more about your childhood, like growing up.
Yeah. So, I'm an only child.
Nice.
Yes. So, no siblings. I kind of liked it, and knowing that I'm a projector, I was like, "Oh, thank you, parents, for not throwing me in the mix with, like, 6 other siblings."
Oh gosh,
I
yeah.
spent a lot of time alone, though. Like, I had a very small friend group. I always felt different. Like,
Hmm.
before I even had the language to explain why,
Hmm.
but I felt different, like, I didn't really ever fit in, and I tried really hard to fit in. So, I
Hmm.
molded myself to be what I thought everybody else would want me to be. I had a few close, good friends who saw the real me and accepted that, but the rest of the time, I was kind of the overachiever. I loved school. Um, like, in the summers, I would ride my bike to the library, and I would spend my time in the air conditioning in the library because we didn't have air conditioning at home,
We would have been friends.
and, like, I wrote like, I used to love, this is something I've never really shared publicly, is I used to write like vampire stories. And it was because I used to, that's the type of stories I used to like. And I was like, well, I'm reading it. I could write that. Like in typical like 2-4 fashion, right? Like I could figure
Yeah,
it out,
like,
right?
let me just how hard can it be?
Like how hard could it be? And I just wrote these like short novels. I don't even know where they are. I'm a pack rat, so I probably have them saved somewhere in a box. And then going through high school, that's as awkward can be, and didn't really find myself. I was kind of like the ugly duckling and didn't
Mm.
really like blossom until well into like my 20s and 30s. um yeah.
I think that so many women can relate to that story, being the quiet kid, especially like trying to fit in so much
Mhm.
and like change yourself to figure out how you fit
Yeah.
in into this world and then not really feeling complete's the only word that comes to mind, but I don't know if we're ever complete, just more aligned later. And we talked about this before too, like our age of women
Mhm.
is just so cool because we hit 40 and we're like, oh, we're just gonna get louder now. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah. Like, no, I'm not gonna be quiet anymore. Like, I'm done with that. I'm gonna share my opinions, and you can listen or cannot, and that's okay. Like, I am
Yeah.
not gonna take it personally, you know?
Yeah. Do not care what you think about my thoughts, but
No.
here, like, this is what I'm doing. And I love it because I feel like we're all kind of awakening at the same time and we're all taking care of each other.
Yes.
Like to there's none of that nonsense like when we were younger of like girls competing for boys' attention or any of that. Now it's like, oh no, we're all coming together.
Yeah, it's
Like
like
you have a business, come on my podcast, let me so you can talk about it.
yeah,
Like let's build each other up. And I
exactly.
love it. I love it. Okay, this is a quick side note, but you mentioned vampire stories, and I'm curious
Okay.
your thoughts on Twilight.
Actually, I'm guilty. I did not partake. I was like, as much as I
Okay.
loved them as a child, I just couldn't get into it. Like, I
Yeah.
like the idea of it and, like, I guess, the novelty of
Uh-huh.
escaping into this other reality, but I just never got into it.
It is so funny. I never read the books
Mhm.
because I was too Christian for that at the time, but somehow fell into the movies, and now it's like once a year I go through a whole binging process, and I
Oh, I
have to
love it.
watch them. And my kids are like, "Again, mom,"
It's like, it's that time of year.
like, "But Jacob and Edward," and so they know about it because
Yeah.
but it's just so funny. Okay, I was just curious
Okay.
because random nerdy thought. Okay, okay, so I can see too how this really plays into your branding and everything you were
Mhm.
talking about the rewilding, because having this time as a kid of just being so quiet and trying to adapt to the world and as we're figuring out more and more, our world was really just created by and for very specific type of men. So maybe it just hit me. Maybe that's part of why women our age are getting so much louder and waking up so much
Right.
more right now. We're like, no. What do you mean you just took my entire childhood from me for gross reasons? Like,
Yes.
we're not having this anymore.
That is, I found myself in some positions of, not to go into too much detail, but really not having enough self-love and
Mhm.
self-esteem at the time, where I found myself in relationships where I was taken advantage of. I've married before and it didn't work out because I think at that time I was more in love with the idea of being in love than
Mm,
that relationship, because I didn't love myself
mhm,
enough. And then now
mhm,
looking back, like hindsight's 2020, I was like, "Oh, well, that makes total sense why I was in these relationships, why I allowed myself to be taken advantage of, why I allowed myself to be emotionally abused." It's not that I'm condoning that behavior, but it's more from like a place of acceptance and
mm.
forgiveness from myself, right? First, like, not letting anybody off the hook, but I can't hold that.
Yeah,
It's too heavy. I
right.
need to release it. And when I released that, I was like, holy shit, I felt physical release out of my body.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
Did you do a specific kind of
No, it was
thing?
literally just the awareness of, I had this like light bulb moment of, that is literally why I did that, or why I was in it. Was a culmination, I think, of all the spiritual practices. I'm an EFT practitioner as well.
Mhm.
Having the tools in the toolbox, kind of like I said, like peel back the onion. and getting to that core, and I was like, "Oh," it was literally just this light switch went on, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. I get it now," and, like,
I
feeling
love
this, like,
that.
physical release. It's hard to put into
Mhm.
words, right?
Yeah, but I totally understand. I know I've had those moments too, and it's so wild. It's like, "Oh, literally, I just needed to realize this.
Yeah.
That's it, like, I'm good now."
Yes. Right, it's a choice too.
Mhm. And I can totally relate to that. I mean, my whole marriage to my kid's dad was kind of a disaster. But I just felt so in love with him,
Yes.
and I, you know, really was at the time, but it's like looking back, but you didn't love yourself. You didn't know
Mm.
yourself. I just kept thinking that he knew me
Yeah.
and that was enough.
Yes.
But
Mhm.
he didn't because I didn't, so how could he?
100%. And, like, I don't regret anything. I got my daughter, my oldest child, out of that, so I would not change anything,
Mhm.
um, in that path, but also knowing that where I am right now is because of that, but maybe if I would have loved myself a little bit more, things would have been a little smoother. I don't know, but no
Yes,
regrets there.
yes. No, I get down that path too, where I'm like, if I
I
if
know.
I could have just had some self-knowledge and self-confidence. Like, I watch my kids who are 18 and 21
Mhm.
and their friends at this age, and I'm obsessed with Gen Z. They're
Oh my
amazing.
god. Yes.
And I'm like, if I would have had the self-knowledge that they have, well, they wouldn't be here
Yeah.
because I wouldn't have married their dad.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, you can't really regret anything, and I often feel like my kids, like, they're literally the only reason I was with their dad because they were
Mhm.
like, "Well, we've got stuff to do, so I need you 2 to come together,
Yeah.
and then you can do what you want, but, like,
Yeah.
we gotta be here." It's a fascinating thing. Okay, and, you were talking to well, okay, one thing that we have talked about a lot in this, podcast overall is the pivots that we've had to make, especially as women living in this world, trying to figure out how to do all the things, right? And so you had mentioned that one big pivot for you is when you got laid off from your corporate job,
Yeah.
and you were pregnant at the time
Sure was.
because patriarchy doesn't care.
No, they don't give a shit. Like, it does not affect their bottom line. Like, I was just collateral damage. So, yeah, that was
Okay,
yeah.
so yeah, walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, so I was at a staffing company for over 15 years. I literally thought this was and that was after finding myself, like, we can walk back a little bit further. I went to college, got my 4-year degree in anthropology. Literally
Hmm,
nothing to do. I wanted to be an archaeologist,
nice.
specifically a forensic anthropologist, helping people, like, solve mysteries of, like, mass disasters. Then I burned out
Mhm,
because I was too
mhm.
ambitious, like, bit off more than I could chew, finished college in 3.5 years, and I'm like, I can't go get, like, a graduate level degree right now." So, went and got some jobs. I was a financial planner for a little while I was with my daughter's father, and that didn't work out. I said, "You know what? I if I land this one deal, I will stay," because I knew, like, the money was good. That's conditioned, right? Like, "Oh, I'm
Oh
gonna like,
yeah.
success equals money," and I didn't land the deal, so I quit without notice, the only job I've ever quit without giving notice, and then I ended up at a temp agency, like, just filing papers and doing data entry for $9 an hour.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
part-time, 4 hours a day, and, like, that goes back to, like, that self-respect and that self-love, and I'm like, "Well,
Mhm.
I have no other options, and this is, like, what's gonna put food on the table and pay the bills for now," and ended up getting a full-time job, like, from that position, and fast forward 15 years, they restructured the whole US organization, got rid of all middle management. I worked my way up from recruiter to, like, branch manager. At the time, I was a senior level, like, operations manager, so overseeing all
Wow.
of the state of New York, and I would have stayed there, honestly, like, until I was eligible to retire. So, I
Mhm.
think the universe had bigger plans, and now looking back, I was like, "Oh, this was the best thing that could have ever happened," but at the time, it rocked my world. I was 5 months pregnant and with
So
my 3rd
terrifying.
child, right? Like, I thought everything was just hunky dory. I was gonna take my maternity leave, come back, no big deal, and that wasn't the story. I got laid off, but as a blessing, I was able to get unemployment. I actually utilized the resources to learn how to build a business. So I'm
Mm.
thankful for that. So, and I don't think I would have gotten those skills had I not gotten laid off. So, yeah. And that like kind of moves us. And those were little iterations. I worked in network marketing for a while. And I think almost a lot of
I
us
did that too.
have worked in network marketing. That was like our like toe dip into the world of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Yeah. And now I'm still balancing like a full-time career with a business and being a mom and a wife and a partner. So there's a
Oh
lot
my
going on right
gosh.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of things.
Yeah.
How do you find that balance?
That's something I'm working on. Like that is an active thing that I have to remember because my little fingers will work until I have no more energy. And as a projector, I'm like, okay, like how can we find more balance in that time? And
Mhm.
it's first and foremost, I'm learning to take care of myself first, prioritizing my own joy, number one. Excuse me. So going to my yoga classes, like I go to a yoga book club once a week.
Nice.
And but I will say it's not the easiest. So it's just finding those pockets of time. And luckily, I have a very supportive partner, and he doesn't understand what I do at all online. He is Gen Z and he does not like technology. So he's like, I have no idea what you do. I'm like, no clue, but tell me what you need and we'll make it work. So,
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah.
And that's one thing I really like to point out too is I'm starting to realize how important relationships are
Mm,
in life and how they really do either make or break you. And it's probably because of all the wrong relationships I've had. I'm trying to figure out the right relationships. But I just love hearing about people who have these supportive partners. Like there's
mm,
been so many women showing up on here and saying, "Yeah, my husband's my number one fan." And I'm like, "Man, that is
yeah.
amazing. That is so cool." And I know that being able to really see examples of that just helps to know that it's possible for people who might not have it yet. It's like, okay, but cling to the fact that it's possible, that it is happening.
Yes.
So
It's
it
like
can happen for you too.
that driftwood that like you
Yes.
can see that it is out there. Like you said, it's possible.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. She says mostly to herself to remind me to not get bitter.
Right. Mhm.
But it's just I think it is important to really acknowledge the relationships you have in your life and what
Mm,
they are doing for you or to you.
yes.
So I love that you have such a supportive partner because that is such
Yeah,
a huge thing.
it is.
So tell us a little bit more about your business that you do and how you work with women.
Yeah. So mainly I started the business just doing readings, like human design readings, explaining the chart to people. And I said, there's got to be more to this. Like when you look at a human design chart, right? You're fully versed in the system as well. It's like, okay, this is nice information, but what do I do with it?
Yeah.
And so, what I really love to do with women is dissect the chart in a way that you can bring it into life. Like, how does this show up in your
Mhm.
relationships? How does
Mhm.
your designer, how can you utilize the strengths in your chart to cultivate like the dream life that your soul is calling you to? Like, what can we look at? Like, what is your profile? Like, getting into the nitty gritty of the chart, but not like teaching the chart. So I guess for me, it's a little hard to
Yes.
like put into words what exactly, but it's taking pieces and parts of your chart. A lot of the work that I do is with your incarnation cross and
Mm.
your soul's purpose and the energy that you carry in this lifetime and not necessarily what you're doing, right? It's like how you're showing up in your life. Every woman that I've met is already living some part of her incarnation cross, whether she wants to admit it or not.
Okay, that's fascinating to unpack the incarnation cross because, okay, for anybody listening who doesn't know, it's basically your life purpose. It's 4 points in your chart that spell out your purpose. And so I think a lot of people cling to it because they're like, okay, well, just tell me that real quick so that I can go do that thing. It's like, well, that's not why you learn it though. Okay, and then tell me, this is how I always interpreted it. So I'm curious if this relates to how you did. It's like you start to look at it so that you can see how you've been running from it your whole life
Yep.
and how you have to like unlearn so that you can be it. Like you had said before, it's not really about doing the things. You don't have a checklist. Like I'm right angle across a rulership. It's
Ah,
like, okay, well, let me see how I've been a good ruler today. Like,
yes.
no.
Yeah. No, that's I would say, yeah, very much so. And when I look at the incarnation cross, because I also teach gene keys, and that's like the lens that I look through
Yes.
is your activation sequence is your incarnation cross. So these are like the four energies that you carry that you can't escape. And
No, they're gonna be there.
right? And that is the biggest part of your chart, and you can either be living the lower expressions of that energy,
Mhm.
or you can be stepping in, and we oscillate, right? Like, depending on who we're with, the moods, the transits, what's going on.
Right.
But how I see it really is this energy that you carry. So it's like flipping that script of like you said, there's no checklist. Like, okay, I know what my conscious sun is and I'm going to do this. No, it's this awareness. Like I said before, it's like almost you have a light bulb moment of that's how
Mhm.
I've been operating, or I can see the possibility in when I release the control of how I'm supposed to show up.
Yes, yes, that's what it is. It gives you the keys to release the control.
Yes,
And that's terrifying,
it is.
especially in this, corporate world that we've
Yeah,
all been existing in. But that's why it's so perfect. This is why I love your business model so much,
yeah,
working with midlife women, because again, we're getting louder. We're ready to step into our purpose. And it's like, you mean I've been doing the exact opposite? Like I know for me, I'm meant to speak more and share more of my beliefs and stories, but I have been hiding
yeah.
like, so much my whole life. I'm like, "Nobody wants to hear from me. It's fine. I'm just gonna stay quiet."
Uh, I feel that in my soul. Oh my goodness.
Isn't it wild? So do you feel like that too? Like, once you started getting more into your design and really living it and being it, you're like, I've been actively shoving this down
Oh, yeah.
into the back of my
100%.
closet."
Like, a hundred
Yeah.
percent. I was, I think, afraid of the power. And those are things
Yes.
I'm still working through is like seeing, and as a projector, right, we see other people better than we can see ourselves, but the chart
Mhm.
is like literally right in front of you. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I have been running from the power that's in my chart because we were so conditioned that power's bad. And I'm like,
Yes.
power is, it can be quiet, it can be soft. Power can be just you showing up as you with no other intention other than just to share yourself.
Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. And I love that you brought this up because I have honestly been contemplating the word power for a couple weeks now
Mhm,
because it fascinates me.
mhm.
And it started though with Bad Bunny's speech. I don't know if you
Yes.
saw his Grammy speech and his Super Bowl performance, and his whole message is love is more powerful than hate. And 100% agree. And it really got me thinking about power because I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, the power of love is very different from the power of hate.
That frequency is so
Yeah,
much different. And I would argue that it is the ultimate power, is like when you stand
same.
in love, right? It's the only thing that can cast out the darkness.
Exactly. MLK Jr.'s quote. Yes.
Yeah.
It's it's a beautiful thing, and so that goes right with what you were saying, showing up as yourself. Like, that's the power, showing up as yourself, and that goes right along with the message of Full Heart that I'm working to really share is that you're filling your heart so full of love. That's what it is. It's when you are love, you are fully expressed, and sharing that full expression with the world, that is the most powerful, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I am so in love with the fact that all these women are starting to do that, and I'm so curious to see
Yeah.
how the energy is gonna shift in the next few
Right?
years.
Like the rise of the divine feminine is something to witness and be immersed in. And like, I feel like almost I'm like visualizing like being swept in an ocean of just like this rise of this feminine energy. And it's like, it's
Mm.
powerful, but we're not here to compete with each other. We're here to rise each other
Oh.
up. Like how can we collaborate? How can we get these
Yeah.
messages in front of more people? Because if you and I are feeling these ways, other people are too.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're just part of the collective energy being, especially, this is when it's cool to be a projector, right? Because
Mhm.
it's like, we're hanging out. We're like, oh, look at all these things happening.
Yeah.
Hey, are you guys seeing all these things happening?
Yeah. They're like, what things?
Yeah. And then we get to talk about it and share about it. And that's something where human design kind of
Yeah.
saved me because I've had this story in my childhood that I wasn't very smart and that I was boring and just all these things. And so I think, like a lot of projectors, I was a really, really great manifesting generator before I found out I was a projector.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like
Sounds like you were too.
I
It's like go,
married
go, go, go,
one,
go.
and 2 or 3 of my children are MGs, so I'm like, somehow I am like
Mm.
MG adjacent.
It's just wild. And so having to step back and then looking at, especially being a mental projector, right? And I
Mm,
just have the mind and throat
yeah.
defined. And then my sun sign, my conscious sun is 47 coming off of my mind.
Mhm.
And I'm like, no, I'm literally here to think things and then
Yes.
to share what I'm like the beliefs I've come to
Right?
based on what I've been thinking, based on the realization ends I've made.
Yeah,
And when did that hit me? I was like, that's literally all I've ever wanted to do.
right, and, like,
Like,
be curious and be
yeah,
paid well for being curious.
exactly. Exactly. I'm like, I just want to interview people and then I want to write books and I want to share what I've learned
Girl, do it.
and then I want to do it all over it again. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
And then seeing it in my chart, I was like,
Yeah. Like, it's almost like you picture that little, like, cartoon where, like, the head explodes. You're like,
yeah.
"I get it now."
You're like, okay. Okay. But you know what's interesting is once I realized that, then I had to go through this whole thing where I had this firm belief
Mhm.
that I couldn't actually make money from that. Like, well, that's just something like that's not possible to make money
Mm,
from that. And had to talk to some friends and then started to really notice again the driftwood. I'm like looking at these people who just make a living off of
right?
podcasts or, reminding myself that authors exist
Yes.
and, like all kinds of stuff. And so it's fascinating these limiting beliefs that come through and that are so ingrained, and you may or may not remember where they came
Yep.
from. But do you talk about that too with your clients and like
Oh, yeah.
figuring those out?
Yeah, that is something like I have a 4-part framework that we work through and part of the rewilding framework. And part of that is unpacking these unconscious and subconscious beliefs and
Mm.
having the courage to just try to let them go. If it feels safer
Mm.
to hold on to it, that's okay. Like, let's meet you where you're at, and let's, like, if we have to take baby steps there, that's fine. I'm been very conditioned of you gotta see it to believe it mentality. So
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been reworking that for myself and rewiring those pathways of what if I just believe enough and then I'll see it. That's been a
Yes.
hard one, I will say. But I was like, the magic that comes of the belief, "Okay, I get it now. Thank you, universe." Like, "Okay."
Yes, to start switching. I mean, like, even this podcast, the way it came together, because I was talking with a friend, I was living with my friend a while ago, and just had this idea that I was anyway, and, like, at some point one day I woke up, I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna post about it
Yeah,
now." And it just came together, and then I found a old journal, and, like, 2, 3 years ago, I
mhm.
had written down, like, "I really want to interview successful women, and I want to write about it," and it was, like, everything I'm doing now, and I'm like, "Oh, this has been hanging around
We've
for a
been we've
while."
been manifesting it.
Yeah, and I forgot. So, that was part of showing up for it. I'm like, "Okay, I guess we're gonna do it," and then, of course, I've been working through a lot of beliefs since I
Mhm.
started it. So it's been a journey, but I know for me, and maybe it's the 1-3 profile, it's like I just gotta throw it out there and do it
Yeah,
and then keep refining it.
exactly, along the way, like, trusting that you already have enough information, like, you already know enough, just go out and try it. Do a little trial, do a little experiment. If it doesn't
Yeah.
work out the way you planned, that's just feedback, right? It's just, "Oh, okay, well, I learned something from this experience, and like you said, I can refine it."
Yeah. My philosophy, there's no such thing as failure, there's only feedback.
Exactly, love it.
It helps you rework, and it's just so fascinating. It's
Yeah,
wild being part of this time.
It
And
is.
I'm so grateful too because gosh, like even okay, when I first got divorced like 13 years ago,
Mhm.
a life like this wasn't possible. Like I was trying to figure out how to take care of my kids and find my first ever corporate job
Yeah.
and do all these things. And it was exhausting. But now it's like, oh, all these people can show up and build a business and build a life online through different
Yeah,
things. It's really cool.
I know.
Have you done much research on what Ross said about 2027 or even what Richard Rudd has talked
Yeah,
about?
like, I'm kind of along for the ride, though. I'm interested
Mm-hmm.
to see, like, I understand like, how I understand it is we've been on this evolution for a while anyway, and,
Mm-hmm.
like, we're already seeing glimmers of what this transition is to more, like, from this what is it? Cross the planning to the sleeping phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of these structures and systems, we're evolving into more relational, right? And more, how do we feel about things? And
Mm-hmm.
like, I was just having this memory of like, oh, like feelings, like this conditioning of, well, feelings aren't important. Like, we need to talk about like structure and logic. I was like,
Oh
no,
my God.
we're moving away from that. So I think it's going to be a process. Like 2027 is kind of like this pin in the timeline, but I don't see it
Mm-hmm.
like, remember like 2012 when everyone's gonna say like, Y2K, they all said it was
Oh
all the world was
my
gonna end.
gosh.
And like,
Yes.
I don't see some big like fireworks and this big epiphany that come next year, but I
Yeah.
think we're on this trajectory and we can't escape it, right? Like, we have
Oh, for sure.
like I almost see this tipping point. Like, we're going to hit like terminal velocity, and there's going to be enough people awakening that things are just going to change.
Yes. And you can definitely see that now. I feel like even just in the last 5 years, things have shifted so much, like more than any other 5 year period I can remember.
Yes, it's like time has collapsed.
It is so weird. It's so like it's oh my gosh. I've seen this so much in my personal life. Like I'll go to email someone back, someone will email me and I go to email them back. I'm like, oh, it's only been a couple days. No, it's been 2 weeks since they
Yes,
emailed me. And I'm like, sorry.
just over here living my life.
Legit thought it's been like maybe 2 days.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I am guilty too, like of like, it's like, oh my gosh, like I didn't get back to you. Like, in my head, I did.
Yeah, same. And like with my close friends, I'm like, did we not talk about this?
Yeah,
I swear we did. They're like,
no,
no.
like maybe just in my head
Like,
then.
okay, well then we psychically talked about it
Yes, exactly.
because
On the astral plane, we were discussing this.
yes, yes,
Mhm.
for sure. Well, I'm really fascinated to see all the shifts. It is a little scary and weird. Like, I'm like, why did it? The timing is weird. Like,
Yeah.
on one hand, with my kids, I'm like, I'm glad they're out of the school system. They're both in college
Mhm.
now. But at the same time, I'm like, they're just entering adulthood and it's so
I know.
crazy. And I'm finally, for the first time in my life, getting a chance to live my own life and figure things
Mhm.
out. And it's in this environment. What do you mean?
Yeah.
But the divine feminine rising is
Yes.
incredibly hopeful. And I'm
Mhm.
excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my gosh, so good. Okay, so you had talked a little bit before about when you were in the corporate world, like finding your jobs and stuff, and you're like, success equals more money. And I
Oh,
know
yeah.
that that was such the huge thing. And this is part of why I made this
Mhm.
podcast because I'm ready to shift the definition of
Mhm.
success, which goes along with the collective messaging that we just talked about. So I'm curious how you would define success now in this phase of your life.
That is an excellent question, and I've actually been pondering it. I think success for me can't be really defined quantitatively, right? It's like
Mm,
success for me is a feeling of, and it can vary depending on, maybe success in a relationship means a deeper connection for me.
hmm
Cultivating a deeper connection with my spouse, with my children, and that really can't be measured. So for me, success is, how do I feel in this moment? Am I joyful? Am I leaning into my joy?
mm,
Do I feel this little spark, this connection? And that to me is kind of a mind fuck, because coming from this, success equals how much money you can accumulate and how many awards and degrees you have. It's been extracting myself from that narrative and coming into this, no, success can be just did I wake up today and look at a beautiful sunrise and I have a hot cup of tea and that's enough.
Okay, I think that is so beautiful. And you're right. In the past, I know it just seemed like the message was nobody cares about your feelings. Joy doesn't matter. You can do something with that after work. Like lock in, clock in, be useful. Just all of this, put away your humanity and feed it to the machine.
Exactly.
And I love that you have joy as a metric because I feel like that's something that is really amplifying collectively as well
Mhm.
right now when we look at the Olympics
Yeah.
and which I've been talking about a lot lately. But it's such a good example when you look at these athletes and like they're out there
Yeah.
so joyful to do
Right?
what they do.
And it's
And it's beautiful.
and joy is contagious. Like, I'm literally in my design, I'm wired for joy. Like, I have the 1858 channel,
Okay.
and I've been fighting it my whole life. Like you said, the message of
Interesting.
joy, if you can't monetize something, then it's not worth your time. Or
Yes.
you can find your joy after you prove yourself, after you
Yes.
finish your work. And I'm like, "No, I deserve to have joy first, and then everything else will be
Right.
easier."
And now it just makes so much more sense to say, no, follow the joy because then that's where the money is. That's where the success is. That's where your network is and your opportunities.
Exactly.
And it doesn't even make sense anymore to say, like, go get in the grind. Whereas
Mhm.
10, 15 years ago, that made total sense. Like, that's just what you did.
100%.
It's so wild. But I love seeing the examples of joy all around. And I'm glad that you brought that one up because I think it's a huge one. And it's one I'm learning
Yeah,
as well. I still kind of feel guilty.
I know.
What do you mean I can just be happy? It's like, but what did you do? What kind of ROI did you get today?
I was like, no. And it's that believing it until you can see it thing, right? It's that
Mhm,
rewiring of that old narrative of like, okay, like I'm
mhm,
building this muscle of trusting that my joy will lead to whatever success means.
mhm. Yes. So, okay, I'm curious on that topic, just if you had any kind of tip that you'd be willing to share that you might share with a client that's like having trouble connecting to joy. What's something you would say to people?
Well, I think it varies depending on their type. Like for our
Mhm,
sacral types, I think it might be a little bit different because they really need that in order to fuel their sacral. It's constantly finding that joy, right? But it's not like
mhm.
finding. Okay, that's not the right words I'm looking for. So,
Like, responding to the joy, like,
yeah, I think
noticing the joy.
exactly. I think it's especially for generators, not MGs, but especially for generators, those breadcrumbs of like
Mhm,
what the universe is kind of showing them and responding to that and not from a people pleasing. Like, because I know a lot of generators, they fall into that people pleasing. But I think for all types, it is what lights you up? Like, let's get back to basics on what are you excited by? Do you like to read? Like, what did you do as a child that
mhm.
you got away from because you were told you can't do that? Like, did you paint? Were you terrible at painting, but you absolutely loved it? Go back and do it. Like, buy a little art
Yeah.
set at a local shop and just go outside and, paint in the park. Or do you like to exercise? Go out and do more of that. And and especially as like mothers, I think it's really hard when we're in the trenches of like early raising our children. Like I'm still like my kids are early school age, my younger ones. So I'm
Mm,
just getting out of that of finding more pockets of joy. But like, do you have 5 minutes to go outside and feel the sun on your face?
yes.
And it's releasing this, I guess, the control and this idea that joy has to look a certain way. It could literally
Mhm.
be 1 minute of sipping your coffee and tasting it.
Oh,
Does
that's so good.
does this warm you up and, like, reconnecting in this, like, mindfulness practice? I think
Mhm.
starting there would be, like, ideal for anybody.
That's so good. I love that because, yeah, even just taking 1 minute, I think we get caught up in a lot of the influencers, like, "Here's my 5-hour morning routine that makes me a gajillion dollars," and it's like, that's the other thing that I will be exploring at some point, how people don't like the momness of it. Like,
Mhm.
it's just different.
Yeah.
But to even to just take a minute, that's
Mhm.
it. And if it's not until you get your kid down for a nap, or if you forgot and you're like in bed, okay, take 1 minute to just be and to
Yeah.
connect. That was beautiful. Thank you for that. Okay, my last question that I love to ask
Yeah.
people, because we're on the Full Heart podcast, it's all about filling your heart full of love. So, what is filling your heart full of love these days?
I think the biggest thing is connections with other women
Mhm.
and in like my personal relationships too, like really these deeper connections because I can almost like literally see my heart like as a cup and like just filling it with connection.
Yes.
Like finding,
Mm.
even though we might be very different, we're on opposite corners of the planet, we're having similar experiences. And that is just to me like getting back to joy. Like that just brings me so much joy.
That's so beautiful. What a good time. Okay, thank you so
Oh
much,
my gosh.
Marissa,
Thank you, Rebecca.
for this such an amazing conversation. Okay, so for anybody who wants to connect with you more or potentially work with you, tell us what offerings you have right now and where they can find you.
Sure, sure. I have a free audio that is all about your human design type. It's called Your Energy Snapshot, and that you get your chart, and then you'll get a little 10-minute audio that explains your human design. That's a great way to start. I'm also working, it's called the Nine Centers Mystery School. This is a collective community space for women to unpack all these rules and obligations and roles that we all and decondition and really just come back to ourselves. So that's all. You can get it at rewildbydesign.com, or you can find me on the social channels. I spend a lot of time on TikTok, so that's where I hang
Mm.
out, but you can find me on Insta too.
Awesome. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you again so
Oh,
much.
thanks, Rebecca. This was so fun.
Appreciate you.